got some readers here. All right. That's good because we're selling books. Hey, speaking of which, did you know that books are for sale at this event? That's right. Believe it or not, you can buy them for the low price of $15 for one, or if you've been saving your pennies, 2 for $25. Grandma Press is in the building. We have to thank the William and Ruth True Foundation, our benefactors for this lovely event. Thank you, Ruth B. True, a real name. That's someone's name. Okay. A couple more announcements, then we'll get into the literature. You may notice that someone is taking photos of the event that will probably look real good. That person's name is Megean McBride-Sanchez, and if you require a photographer for an event or for some fine art that you have in mind, you should look Megean McBride-Sanchez up. Matter of fact, she has a card that you can request. Mine says that's someone else's card. MegeanMcBride.com. MEGEANMCBRIDE.com. Where you can get those lovely photos set up for your event or fine art. Finally, on the announcement end of this, it's not the end of the event. The floral designs, you may notice that lovely bouquet over there. That is by none other than Lula Brooks. And though the website is still pending, yeah, stand up, come on, show the people. All right, yeah, gorgeous. If you need some flowers that look incredible for some reason in your life coming up, you should send an email over to Lula, L-U-L-A, at LulaBrooks, BROOKS.com. Or if you got your phone out and want to enter the number now, it's 917-803-6902. That's a Manhattan area code, all right. Brooklyn? It might be a by borough code, I don't know. It could be either. Okay, well, anyways. Sorry, it's been a while. First up comes Anastacia-Renee. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, come on, make sure. Yeah. Anastacia-Renee is somebody that I saw read at the Gramma launch party back in November in Seattle. It was a beautiful event. In fact, a few of the readers here, Don among them, and Stacey, also performed at that event. It was one of the greatest readings I've ever seen in my life. Anastacia, I always feel like when I'm reading poetry, some people when they write poetry are fucking around. And I definitely would never say that about Anastacia-Renee. I picked up the chapbook. It has one of my favorite couplets of 2017. Why didn't you come? Why is the soy sauce down to the label? Anastacia-Renee has no fewer than 3 books coming out this year. V, you can get $15. It's a fucking bargain. And of V, Tahimba Jess, none other than Pulitzer Prize winner Tahimba Jess, said, V broils the alphabet with accents of Zora and bobby pins and tangled braids. She is busy here melding a black girl woman song with a backbeat of black Jesus and Barbie heads. She is weaving a ghosted blues of cop cars and sparrow eyes. She is translating a language of pain into a semaphore of power. Please welcome to the stage Anastacia-Renee.
It's a good night. Thank you, and I'm gonna take one. Whew. Congratulations, pressmate. I am very honored to be on the same press with you, and thank you, Grandma, for making this happen. I'm gonna get right into it from V. A through H, B, betrayal, behind, barstool, benevolent, Becky, burn, baby's breath, blues, been there, blind, benign, Becky, the patron saint. WWBD, 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 WWBD. I'm driving along, WWBD, WWBD. I'm black, WWBD, WWBD. I'm in the suburbs, WWBD, WWBD. I'm singing my song, my tire is flat. WWBD, WWBD. WWBD. You are trying to summons Becky as in like, what would Becky do? WWBD, WWBD. You are driving black in the suburbs. You are a woman. There is no one on the street to be your witness. WWBD, WWBD, WWBD. In this situation, would she be sweaty palmed and red eye? Would she wonder if something as simple as this, a flat tire in the suburbs and expired tags, WWBD, 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 make her call her kids and say, hey loves, don't be alarmed. This might be the last time you hear from mama. WWBD, WWBD. I'm just in the suburbs driving while black with a flat tire and no one's on the street to witness. WWBD, WWBD. Make her pray to the moon for more light and less waning. Make her wish for a quick change of blue eyes and flippy blonde hair, red lips, and a side of, my uncle was in the police academy too. So you make her a patron saint. WWBD. Pray to Becky for your safety. Pray when the cops come that Becky mount you and speaks to you through the officers in her tongue. May she possess your face, turning anything but a black woman. Maybe pale, maybe tan, so you could be slightly exotic, tan on Tuesday. Make you say, WWBD, WWBD. Becky, please, please, please save me from the bony hands of my own ancestors' children. Save me from this simple traffic stop. WWBD, WWBD. Y'all know who Skipper is? I usually don't give disclaimers, but I'm learning there's a generation gap. Not saying I'm old or anything.
Sister, right?
Who?
Barbie's little sister?
Yes. So, you know, I get Gilligan's Island. Skipper as in a captain. No. Skipper is Barbie's sister in this group, and I'm reading these for Don because he chose these. So 2 from the Skipper series. Malibu Skipper to be exact. Malibu Skipper, the one with the bendable legs from 1969 to 1983. Me, how do you feel? Skipper, how do you think I feel? Skipper smelled like a combination of pickle juice and pussy, which I liked. When she arrived, she snatched her glasses off and big girl tendered to the right. He's so cute. She puffed out like a kid sister or a baby dragon. And when she ordered bourbon with a squeeze of lime, I knew we would talk shit about Barbie as if she was still alive, like Barbie was gonna glide down that escalator in those pink stilettos, stethoscope, and stiff neck. I think we both looked away at the same time, and then Skipper said something like, "Fuck Barbie!" Her lips puckered magenta as if she herself were made of plastic. "And Ken," she said. Ken sold the pink camper, which Skipper thought was selfish because that's the only place they fucked in most of the time. And I asked her, I said, "Skipper, are you sure you don't love me?" To which she replied, "No, bitch. You are just too real." And we ate our fries and dipped them in Spam, which was Barbie's favorite spread. And Skipper, I decided, was never gonna grow up, was never gonna stop wearing that goddamn jumpsuit, the one I loved. Skipper too. So Skipper says to me in a low voice and loud hands that Barbie's been drinking a lot lately and taking pills. And I say to Skipper, "What kind of pills?" And Skipper says to pills no one should take. And this makes me angry because Skipper's always vague and cryptic, and no one who is so smart should be allowed to be saying things that sound like and she notices I have a what in the entire fuck look on my face, and she says to me all tender and 70s Brady Bunch glow, maybe you should talk to Barbie. And I say, I don't want to talk to Barbie, and anyway, what does Ken say about this? And Skipper tells me while unbuttoning my blouse that Ken and Barbie aren't really together. And when Skipper moves herself closer to me, I want to tell her she's so beautiful. I see her. She's so hot. I want to tell her she doesn't have to keep being a sidekick or a kickstand. And she says to me she's got no problem being second best, that little girls secretly like her better anyway. And then she says to me in what seems like slow motion, even Ken does too.
All right, so everybody got books coming out this year. So my book is called Nature Poem. It came out in May. Tin House, shout out. And I'm just gonna start. So here we go. The stars are dying, like always, and far away. Like what you see looking up is a death knell from light, right? Light years, but also close, like the sea stars on the Pacific coast. Their little arms lesion and knot and pull away. The insides spill into the ocean. Massive deaths. When I try to sleep, I think about orange cliffs, bare of orange stars. Knotted, glut. Waves are clear, anemones and shit, sand crabs and shit, fleas. There are seagulls overhead. I swore to myself I would never write a nature poem. The sand is fine. They say it's not Fukushima. I feel fine in the sense that I feel very thin because I've been doing Tracy Anderson DVD workouts on YouTube, keeping my arms fit and strong. She says, reach, like you're being pulled apart. I can't not spill. Sometimes what you see is what you glut. And there are sometimes insides. This is all one long poem, by the way. When I say I'm having a catfish banh mi, what I mean is leave me alone. What I mean is I love candy, but I'm an adult. I only let myself have candy at the movies. So I've been going to the movies a lot. Sometimes on dates, I buy the box of Gold Bears but keep them scrunched in the cup holder on the armrest because I don't want him to think I'm the kind of adult who still hoovers candy, by which I mean I don't want to be the kind of adult who still hoovers candy, but I still bought him like in good fun was going to offer him some, but he doesn't like sweets. And I thought too long about the prospect a box of gummies breach, and we've been kind of cuddling, so the flick is halfway over and all those other snacky losers finish their soppy nachos and shit, or just wrapped in the movie like a normal person, and it's way past the crinkling hour, but hallelujah, he has to pee. So I quick rip the shit like a bird net, eat a handful of gummy bears, shove the box back in my backpack before he gets back. NBD, crisis averted, Earth, a golden orbit of simplicity. Feel free to hold it until the very end because I have a feeling you're going to be doing that a lot. We are the last animal to arrive in the kingdom. Even science will tell you that. My father takes me into the hills. We cut sage. He tells me to thank the plant for its sacrifice, son. Every time I free a switch of it, a burst of prayer for every leaf. And I'm swole on knowing this, on sharing the pride of plants. My mother waves at oak trees. A doctor delivers her diagnosis. When she ascends the mountains to pick acorn, my mother motherfucking waves at oak trees. Watching her stand there, her hands behind her back, rocking, grinning into the face of the bark. They're talking to each other. I'm nothing like that, I say to my audience. I say, I went to Sarah Lawrence College. I make quinoa and shit. Once on campus, I see a York peppermint patty wrapper on the ground. I pick it up and throw it away. Ah, you're such a good little Indian, said some dick walking to class, so I no longer pick up trash. Everyone is looking for their stupid soulmate right now. Sade likens dating to war. Says she's on the front lines, which is also a kind of hunger. Really, I just see the teeth. Or a desert. You know you're thirsty when you wonder, does the bartender think I'm cute, or is he trying to get a tip? But that's the wilds for you. Everyone wants to know where can they meet a good guy, and then wants to go to a gay bar on a Saturday night. I'm cool with contradictions, but don't lie to yourself. Hope is a charred skeleton of a house visible from a road that snakes through the valley of memory where fig trees burst from the ground like throaty laughter. Winter, like thirst, is one of nature's ultimate burns, implicit in which is the analogy of touching a hot stovetop. I'm tired of astrology and BFFs saying, find the spring, because spring is an asshole, getting your hopes and temps up and then plunging like self-esteem. Plus, it's nearly half terrifying to show again the sea of my body. And yet, I like the way my head shivers, resting on your stomach when you say, boy, if I keep hanging out with you, I'm gonna get a six-pack from laughing. I can't write a nature poem because English is some Stockholm shit. It makes me complicit in my tribe's erasure. Why should I give a fuck about poetry? It's a container for words like whilst and hither and tamp. It conducts something of permanence and universal interest. Poem takes something like an apple, turn it into the skin, the seeds, the core. They talk about gravity, about Adam and Snow White and the stem of knowledge. To me, Apple is an Indian drag queen who dresses like a milkmaid and sings Half-Breed by Cher. I would give a wedgie to a sacred mountain and gladly piss on the grass of the park of poetic form when no one's looking. I would stroll into the china shop of grammar and shout, let's trash this dump, and then gingerly step out. And unrelated, once I called a cab to take me through the drive-thru at White Castle after the dining room closed. That's a fast food restaurant. I saw at a Tim Lugo's that Roy is reading me at the vegan diner on the formerly Italian side of Grand Street. This is our medium, he says. My grandmother dreamed of Tin Pan Alley and wrote a song once with the chorus, your kisses drop like atom bombs. Get in, loser. We're touring landscapes of the interior. In the mist of words, the plume, the matter, the radiant energy. What if I really do feel connected to the land? What if the mountains around the valley where I was born, what if I see them like faces when I close my eyes? What if I said hi to them in the mornings and now all their calls go to voicemail? What if I would ride my big wheels down the drive too fast, headfirst into the chaparral, and I'd steal myself from them, scratchy, having felt the pulse? What if I said sorry under my breath when I sat on moss on the rock at the creek behind myself? I would look like a freaking moron basket case. I get so disappointed by stupid Indians writing their dumb nature poems like, grow up, faggots. I look this thought full in the face, and I want to throw myself into traffic. Admit it. This is the poem you wanted all along. It's hard to be anything but a pessimist when you feel the earth rotting away on so many home pages, and Taylor Swift is an idiot, and cigarettes cost an arm and a leg. I'm on a porch. I'm petting kitties. And there's lavender in the air. The sun is over the hill, and my friend Roy knows the names of all the plants in his front yard. One of the kitties is named Witch Baby, and she likes to perch around your neck. The air is clear, and all across Instagram, peeps are posting pics of the sunset. Thank you.
Enthusiast in the building. Next up to the, thank you for that sound adjustment, my friend. Next up to the stage is somebody I mistakenly invited up originally. Paul Longo. Yeah? All right. Save the bulk of your applause. Writer. That's like an afterthought, right? That resume. Living in Portland, Oregon. He directs R&D, which I think is Research and Dragons, at a medical startup developing products that treat traumatic bleeding. His work has appeared in Gramma, Best New Poets, Fanzine, and Fence. Please invite up here, along with me, Paul Longo. Here he is.
This is going to be by far the second best poem you hear tonight about driving alone. When I'm driving alone and I don't want to be going where I'm going, I've got a little song I sing to myself. It's called Business as Usual. Set to the State Farm jingle, it goes, like a good business, business as usual keeps you happy. It's about a machine that draws in new time from one end and spits out used time from another end and prefers active types. Every January, I resurrect another little song called Half the Water on Our Planet is Older Than the Solar System Itself, about my belief that ancient rain is dissolving all the structures around me to hijack my mind. My latest one is called I Love You When You Say Nah, I Got This, when you clearly don't got this. About those times when I text ha ha ha, then think about it for several minutes and delete one ha because I'm in a shitty mood and it wasn't really that funny to begin with. I've got an old little song from when I lived in an oxygen tent called All My Friends Are in My Head, about how every single thing that happens to you is somewhere recorded. When I babysit my nephew, I sing him one called Babies Learn Things When They're Alone, which goes, babies are cool even when they wake up screaming. He loves it. Sometimes when I spend too much time watching people, the old, tired part of me would kind of like the entire human species to die, but gradually, not all at once. And I have a little song for those times called Retreating from the Great Battles of History. It goes, you'll just use me as incentive to go out and bring more gasoline back. My Looking in the Mirror song is called I Knew Someone Who Looks Like You. It's about the tantrums of patho-adolescent men who can't communicate while playing the same VR game every day for 8 years straight on the same level. The chorus goes, an abandoned landscape that reminds me of home, and it ends with, does this guy have to be here? I didn't realize we'd be filming. It's pretty good. What platform are you all me on? When the astronaut was driving cross country in a diaper designed for space, I built a small hill for my dog to stand on and stare out over the fence for enemies. It was the only hill in his world of situations of confused people. I even showed him how to roll. He never used it. Quit is the way to roll. A hill should be about 7 heads high and implanted with false memories of the same sinking feeling. Impact winter is the way to roll. But upon closer inspection, you find it is far from normal is the way to roll. When I put him on the hill, he was so angry he couldn't move. Buzzing with face ache is the way to roll. Like he was the first guy sick of having a hill and filming it at the same time. Nobody sees the face within your face like I do is the way to roll. So I called to him from the hill that being afraid of children is normal, but kind of an indignity. I called, be like a cat, heal yourself on a hill. I'm so funny, I almost ruined your life, is the way to roll. And the wall of the words I am was dissolved there, hunkered down under the hill, trying to keep away from it. Anywhere I move, these mounds move with me is the way to. Now I agree with my grandmother who said a hill is just a piece of ground that has been ground and ground until it is an expression of an internal something or other. She said there's no match for the wisdom of the body. Weapons are in the daddy shed is the way to roll. So I'm always sort of looking behind me and seeing what is the distance between me and the people I left behind. Here's a little clip of them from my new film, Casual Hope Cemetery. Okay. The last day of history hears you wake up. The some things have to be killed and that's it, period, was a period of great success for dinosaurs. I love the lag between the moment they died and the moment they understood their anger demanded too many resources. The day after the big roundup, everyone thinks we had the home stretch all to ourselves. And the planet thinks the proper use of planets is to send everyone home. Planets must be cleaned between uses to reduce animal anxiety. Our anxiety comes from the vegetable world and it doesn't mind. The earth doesn't mind to receive it again. Thank you.
And then we'll let him come up and take the stage. He's the only man I've ever been jealous of his kids. Joseph Mays.
Hi, everybody. Well, let's clap for Donald Dunbar because his book is out tonight, and here he is. So charming. So much. Well, we'll just do this. Hello. So it's so great to be here. Thanks to Gramma and Donald and Drew for having me. And thanks to Anastacia and Tommy and Paul and Stacey and Becky who are going to read after me. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to read some poems from a thing called Bossy and, they're close enough to be sonnets to call them sonnets, I guess, so that's what we'll do. Smithers, locate my dickie. We've got a show to do. Just in our tube socks and chonies, sipping fine, fine wine, tattoo shining. Remember that one time? No, haha, there were many slipping fines. Pooled sweat, will baby come for me yet? Ah-han. Some moments and few people shimmer bigger in the dream. Dragging pretty tot cigarettes, slicing mangoes, feeling her hard like I'm saying hi. Hey. Yeah? You bet. Yippee-yo, my friends, it is dark, it is spring. Put the ring thing, make it singy, sing, sing, glow, humbucker, pleasure, shudder to think. You think we'll smell this ways forever is the thing. And you're grinding out plenty of sweet struts, kids aping you, cowboy shoes, licking butts. This is Rip City. Oh, one fine day in the middle of June, we moved to Poop Town to both be the groom. And you said, "Priest, what's a sugar steak? And can it be my nickname?" She, "Sugar steak, a slabby thing pinker than your girlfriend's lips. Rare sunshine here makes bend the pale faces, and it's as I do say, fine. As mustachioed man, Marian kind with a watch band." "Well," says I, "'cause they're sprung, call me Rose, call me Judas, 'cause I'm hung heavy as a sack of silver. Donnie, ho, let's get slippy. Lay down, marry me. We'll dance and shout with joy and pain. As guests hear you coo, Joseph fucking Maines." I should say that, so I've known Don for a long time, and then I got inspired. I remember, I think the first time I ever heard Donald read, it was probably maybe over 10 years ago or so. It was in Tucson, Arizona, at this thing, WIP, Works in Progress. And so I remember him saying that one of his poetry teachers said, "You should always read your funny stuff at every reading." And I feel like that was such great, I love that so much, I'll never forget it, because the next poem he read had a line that was something like how these chicken, it goes something like, and they jerked off the chickens before they killed them. And then somebody said, "You can taste that." And it was very good. Okay. So I'm so happy to be reading for Donald and with everybody else. So anyway, that's one story. This poem is called "Become Who You Are." Skin knees on out his mother's womb, he swore off women, and so it was, at times willed it so. He fashioned phallocentripical core creation myth bullshit about skeet po, fast talk and fast fashion, Mayan calendar, apocalyptic fucking cryptic BS orbit. All we sirens are come and song, said Don, donning a buildings roman on his dong. And so, coupled, shooped every culture, color, creed, and grew to love him and them, sow and bull alike as of his own creamy skeet. As twink Kurtz would gather disciples round, so lay them all and make some slipping sounds. Don and the men he bought and told and sold me so. I'm so pretty, Don said. I felt like the shiniest lemons. I felt like the pretty date tights. All wrapped at the thigh and wrapped wet around birthday party Don. The action figure. The dark throne and the direct deposit of green fucking living all at once. Once I wanted to wage war, Don said to the gutter-mouthed girl on food stamps with the gold-marked Jacob's bag she kept in a velvet protective bag. But Don continued, "You're so Portland, I couldn't say yes or no. I said both, or I don't know." Craigslist. "And justice for all," Don, sad, said. "Justice is just a bedtime story" was the title, Men and Men for Boys, so let's rent a bus en route to Chicago, AWP, bio-colored trees out the shadow and window. Do leaves feel lonely when they see their dreaded neighbor falling? Do I want this? No. Do I need this? Yes. "Filler buster," I said, like, "wanna ride uncut pocket slut? The truth is we're dumb and blonde and English free. Come and go in Iowa. Stop for pho," recited Jay-Z and Philip Sidney. "We dropped them boys off at Magic Gardens," for those of you who've been around for a second. "Call us, we'll beat you like Tanya Harding," for those of you who've been around for more than a second. Letter to a Young Poet, or Search Committee, or 36 Chambers of Death. Food tastes gross, and Adderall is sweet. So cream, motherfucker, means we're beat up adjuncts. Porque no right pose, skip sleep. Claro. Oh, silly fuck. Real pose for trust-funded baristas with tumblers and MFA brunch dates and don't jib contest fees. Mother's credit card. Dollar bills Yahweh to a tenure track job and the key fob cluttered with IDs. Get Bossy on CV. Get Pubs, my Donnie D. The doctor's scripts ain't stay fresh interminably. Academy's sick with adjunct cobsuckers, sand scruples, blessed velvet their lips. Slip judges' manuscripts greased with checks and Armantrout to exist. Apocalypse right fucking now. Interstate road we rode so hard, white pills and blue fucking the sky was Bauhaus black, tweeting ravens and so. So hun, say there'll be wick dipping in heaven. You're a plum pudding of yes, all dressed to play some fuck, marry, kill, insanity assassin, Depeche Mode, fast fashion, cigarette ashen in a killed pale blue ribbon can, and storm swell, diving in review, the sky spouts and splatter like dumpster diving at the abortion clinic. Dark the lights, pile up men we serve that's blindingly shuck what there is to be shucked, a synecdoche freedom simile, kneel, bukkake tsunami. Sex can't wait. Masturbate. Dipped into the Super 8 motel. Bond follows the young pop scene. A dream on Congress Street. Want to separate Mr. Wrong Pistol, darling? And what a charlatan you've been. So in whispers, giving groans on your knees, you mansplain to me. Own it with your mouth and say chubby bunny. Holmes, a little Shelley shell knocked. I was out of shit I wanted and looking for disciples. Boy, I want to smoke a goodbye party. Hit the rough with the match head, cuz shine time is bopping making wet sounds tea. Lolling in her eyes, I use the floor. There's a girl with cherry chapstick on and nothing more. You know, actually, I saw Yola Tango play out here, I think in the grass field a few years ago. So the line, that's what that last line's from. Thanks for sticking around. Don't be gross. All right, this song's called Saying One for the Singers. When in Roma, do like sweaty fucking vandals. If we rent, that's rent what's gotta be rent, okay? When swiftly the king sweetly burrows his neck in front of your... What? Ha ha ha! I got you, motherfucker. And motherfucker had you all along. The fireworks flickering done sputtered out. And there's left a husk to be composted, fires to put out, and as they say, babies to kiss. Donnie, ain't it a bad blood scene when we dream, baby? Fugazi on a poetry level. Give it to me, baby, 'cause I want more of the dream of feel. Some fingers in my ass thumping, love is real. Thank you.
A distinct honor to welcome to the stage someone who I'm gonna marry. This next poet is so good at writing poetry that I'm marrying her. That was the only criteria that I used to select my wife, Borat voice. Stacey Tran, soon to be still Stacey Tran, because we're not fucking with that patriarchal stuff. Thank you.
Me either.
Yeah, right? Why bother? Stacey Tran is a writer based in Portland, Oregon, as you might have guessed, where she was born and raised by... She specifically asked me not to read the entire bio, so I'm just going to stop at a certain point. Where she was raised by Vietnamese immigrant parents, who, I'll just interject, are the most wonderful human beings I've ever met. She's the author of the chapbook Fake Haiku, out from Monday's Subway this year. And her debut collection, Soap for the Dogs, will be out off a little press you might have heard of called Gramma in 2018. In 10 minutes, you're all gonna wish that you were marrying her. Please welcome to the stage, Stacey Tran.
I feel very honored to read at Donald's book release party. I mentioned this to Donald earlier, but he and Jamalier and their series If Not for Kidnap was super instrumental. Yeah, give up for that series. This feels like new Portland poetry. Like back in, I don't know, 2012, we were hanging out on a porch that went into a house that went to another porch, and that was awesome. So I'm celebrating that about Portland poetry via Donald, and celebrating his book with all of you tonight is really special. So I just wanted to take a moment to say that, and thank you to all the readers who have blown me away, and I don't know how I'm gonna follow, but I'll do it with some non-funny poems. And this is the opening section to my book that's coming out next spring. Thank you, Drew. Called Soap for the Dogs, and this segment is called Catching Fish with Two Hands. Banana leaf blower. Quail egg white, eyes unraveled. Yellow heart, pile of gravel. The body washes the body. Chest open, barrel full of arrows. To wash away unplagued, adult man pours milk into beer mug. Satisfaction. When you look to smell fresh, kneel beside a glass case filled with wet grass. Sit with how it is heavy to come beside the lake. Incense burning. A clean call from a country where death is a wedding gift. Drag the knife along a dotted line. Time yourself clapping underwater. I think there's like a sports game happening. That's not for me, right?
Now it is.
Waterbed flirtation session. Heart skips into rose-colored camo. Extension cord rests in a pile. An onion asleep is a congregation. Going home to feed unanswerable reservoirs, father sharpens knives to cut oranges. The mind dips a white swan, swimming in a green latte. What came first? A second or its hand? Eyes anchored by its little head, jaw a compass, a number that rhymes with 2. Hold my head beneath the strainer. My hair will catch laws of warmth, laws of loss. Epitome of impatience drying on the roof. The mind with its jasmine green blossoms, quite good for a luck charm. A bear cry is the sound a bear makes while feeding baby birds to comfort them. Half-eaten seeds blow off into the sea. My watch tilts toward public crying. Question marks are the wettest part of my body. My hand, a big practice space for mother's basement, overflowing pickle juice. The mind hides in gravity bins filled with apricot pits. Tongues make the most effective sporks. Someone knows what that means. I don't know what that means. Sweet centerfold, I love your chocolate bunnies. Baby-like vowels through plastic. Deep divers in 2 7-layer hearts. And now I have to get out of my inbox so I can go to my drafts, so I can go look at this other thing called Inbox Sent. Dear blank, someone's scratch at dust falls into my lap. If they don't have an appointment, take their name down and throw it away. All you radiant humans are mixing up in my mind. head count of women for refreshments. Personality test, 7-Eleven milk, public pool. Doesn't that high schooler remind you of Elaine Kahn? You're always thinking about Elaine Kahn. Marble factory worker, self-help book, ant stuff, Brita water filter. Could you do some research on Amazon and see if they have 100-calorie packs of almonds? Sorry, Mistral delineates true regret. Bagel Tuesday, cute shoes. Sugar in the raw. No additional text. Let me know if I can help. Thanks, Stacey. Hey baby, I think that all sounds good. BBQ, self-explanatory. Saturday at Rumelad, just a suggestion. Where are we with what I owe you for the car insurance? In 250 words, you probably want to stick to one frame of time. Remember when we were driving through New Hampshire and got gas where they didn't even have lemon-flavored sparkling water? When you forgot to take your pill, the monk neighbors will start banging on their drums. Anyway, looking at gorgeous photos of islands doesn't hurt. Here's your chance to break up with me. Dennis Cooper and Keanu Reeves interview, http:// www.woeisnotme.net/articles/1990_09XX_KEA.htm. I love you, S. The number 3 is ridiculous. Will you make a video of this, but with you? Draft number 4 of my personal statement has taken extraordinary time getting itself together. We described our perfect date to each other and agreed, that's perfect. Hope you are eating something sweet and singing a bit. An awl, a bone folder, a spool of white thread, an address stamper. What's the best gift anyone ever gave you? Christmas was unobtrusive, like a small town you drive through on a long road trip. I feel so soft. I want to be a little sharper. Have you written the best poem you can write this week? Same. Come visit soon. Yours, S. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Stacey. I'm tempted to propose, but I already did. So instead, I'll say, next up to the stage, we have a writer by the name of someone who is great and is called Becky Wynn. Hold it, save it. Becky Wynn is a poet and performance artist living in Portland, Oregon. I'll also add, she's a great, just like regular artist, like the kind, when you hear the word artist, what you think of, she's great at that. She's a contributing editor at Gramma. She's extremely good at making art. She's a top-notch road trip buddy, as I discovered this past weekend. And she told a story once at an event that was part of Stacey's long and abridged bio that I can't stop thinking about. And I think that you'll all really be mesmerized by her work, which is incredible. So please welcome to the stage, Becky Wynn.
It's no secret that Donald and I like each other, which means that I am privy to a lot of things that you are not privy to, including his relationship with art. I know how hard he works. He works very hard, many, many hours at the computer, writing poetry and just with his VR and all these things. And I know that it's all to create a space, however small it might be, for people to feel like not only that they can be themselves, but that they can like themselves. Anyway. Yeah. You're great, my darling. I think everyone here has that relationship with him. They feel just, I'm sure, I have no doubt, just genuinely accepted by him and celebrated by him. So, some poetry now. Life, you liar, says the hand nailed to a round table and the hungry woman rotating around it. Her breakfast is breaking again, breaking into numbered sequences. When did she begin unbraiding, breaking the landscape apart? She pitches forward, the landscape pitches forward. Its various horizons pitch forward and all at once recede. Out of reach they turn and beckon, wave, whatever, a desert, other deserts, maybe oceans, harmless, but there. Drawing in parabolic streaks the focus of men, women, children, etc., across a streaking interval. Not a competition, no guiding lights of promise. This is only an eternal spilling over onto kitchen floors. Life, you liar. The voice is absolute. Ready now, launching from its perch, it descends into breakfast, breaking the table first into varnish and grain, breaking into color, breaking into mounting shades of brown. Her mouth flutters open and shuts on nothing, tearing nothing, ragged edges anyway. Down her throat and still down, one foot in front of the next, until she clutches a wing in each hand, circling. 2. Oh, she says. We are built to suffer in the hands of children. She spoke to the perforations along her wing. 3. It is imperative you get your hands on something. My life right now is a series of small movements, and all movements end at my fingertips. I am learning every day what follows what and why. For example, today I learned to tear apart, and this I learned will keep something from the sky. 4. It is imperative you get your hands on something. My life right now is a series of small movements, and all movements end at my fingertips. I am learning every day what follows what and why. For example, today I learned to tear apart, and this I learned will keep someone from the sky. 5. It is imperative you get your hands on something. Its life right now is a series of small movements, and all movements end at my fingertips. I am learning every day what follows what and why. For example, today I tore apart, and this I learned is to keep someone from the sky. 6. He looks up, wants what he sees. He babbles, he whines, he summons a thing, it will not come. He moves to touch it. He cannot touch it. Not touching, reaching. Reach. What is that, to reach? It is an addiction. The departure and its twin return. She departs, she returns again, she returns until she strikes a glass surface. It vibrates. Her vision vibrates as this morning's vision of generations vibrates and retreats into a blur, fades, finally, is forgotten. This is the featureless terrain before the fall. Here is the sky. Down below, beneath the fine white powder, she can hear a dulcet light, the sun in the midst of rising or setting. The landscapes themselves, too numerous to count, are particles seemingly frozen in midair. They spiral, actually, imperceptibly, even in this airless space. The temperature drops. Particles ripple by. They accelerate as particles materialize, pile into the void. With rounded corners, they dull her vision's hard edges into white stare. The temperature continues to drop. The landscapes, spanning centuries or days, and the past and the future alike, charge apathetically around her. Wrapping her tightly in an atomic shroud, they amass. Why will be in the unraveling. Tracing each revolution with her finger, she catches and loosens the thread. What should be alive is. The dead have sunk beneath the snow. Here, eyes closing, is the descent, impact, and in the border of air, a pixelation is rising. It curves, this landscape like fingers curling her into a fist. What? He is washing the table, struggle into a table vaguely like its predecessor. The kitchen messy with broken women. There's one at the cutting board, and another crouched on the tiled floor. A third reaches into the cupboard. Here's a fourth, a fifth, and more, blurring and thinning in half remembrance. A sliver of yesterday morning, or mornings caught beneath weeks, months, years. They are waiting for the march of dawn, for the bugle and yank at the leash, waiting until the distance between harness and handle lengthens and shortens, alternately measures 5 feet, 50, 5,000. But now, the room is reassembling. She has been a row of dolls before, identical but in acquired ways. Now she is circling, flapping, thin as paper but poisonous, but innocent in her poison, water in the eyes, downcast, holes for sorrows, a frown, here upright, there unfolding, fingers like strangers pointing. Once she was sunshine, now she is shadow sliding down a black stone wall. Together now, even in the midst of this separation, and eating until the milk goes back into the fridge, the dishes go into the sink until the faucet runs. You cannot see them spinning in the water, but it's people down the drain. Drowning, they watch each other drown.
Yeah. If you think writing 2 books is cool, make some noise. Yeah, I think so too. I agree. This is book 2 for this gentleman. Wow. I know. If you think about it. Think about writing 1 fucking book. As Tommy informed us, shit sucks. I mean, imagine writing it, and then running it back, writing a fucking second one, right? Can you fucking imagine how shitty that would be? God damn. Nonetheless, he persisted. And I guess I don't want to belabor this too much. All I'll say is that, I came to Portland fresh out of grad school, which I call rad school because I'm into things that are rad. And I was very new in town. I'd never interacted with another poet here in Portland, and I was invited to an event. It was, if not for kidnap reading, sorry, I'm getting a little misty, hosted by none other than Dunbar, aka Prima Don Dunbar. And it wasn't until that day that I really felt like I had discovered a community here of writers, and since that day it's like, fuck, there's too many writers. Don's writing is really inspiring to me. It's very free in a way that seems almost ominous. Like you're reading it, you're like, it's so free, he could really fuck me up right now. But at every turn, you're met with this beautiful mercy. No matter how many times I go back to the writing, I'm always like, I can't believe he's being so nice to me. Because at every stage, you're like, oh, I'm about to get fucked, you know? I'm not really doing a good job describing the writing. I tried to write some stuff down before this, but didn't go anywhere. So I guess I'll just say in conclusion that I can say in all honesty that I love Don Dunbar, that I think Don Dunbar is an amazing human being, an incredible writer, and I hope you all enjoy his work as much as I have. Don Dunbar.
Y'all, thanks for coming. Thanks for sticking around. This is the coolest thing for me. I hope it's really cool for you, and but no, it's better for me. This is really good. Thanks so much to Drew and Gramma for publishing my book and making it look so beautiful. Thank you to the other readers. Tommy, thank you. Anastacia, thank you. Becky, Stacey, Paul, Joseph. There's no other people in the world I'd rather read with. And Before I forget, thanks so much to Revolution Hall. Yeah. This has been such a great space for poetry. Having hosted like 80 poetry readings, I've always been nervous about commercial spaces, and it's so difficult to convince people who are working to, support themselves to also just like adhere to the magical unspoken rules of an art space. And there's been no explanation required, and there's been such respect. So thank you for making this possible. I've got some poems to read from my new book. I'll start with the first one. Organic Scalpel. Like in a station of the metro in a corset. Like the Cyrillic for Jade Dilla plus the kanji for heart-shaped nipples. Like flames inside of a dot wave. This book is instructions for cyborgs making love. Though most cyborgs can make love in the traditional manner, it is common for this to be an uncomfortable experience. Not only physically, cyborgs contain heavier, non-organic matter, but much like two mirrors pressed together. Like a geode used for a cyborg's heart. It is recommended you talk to your partner. Explain not just what you like, but how you're feeling. Like how we are textbooks for each other. Like how cyborgs can just plug into each other. Like their machines talk better than their hearts can. This poem is called Clonazepam. Finally. Stability. Finally, the fractal iteration of kings. The legless herds lie still in the fields, and eventually the fences crumble and the wilderness returns. Like cinnamon coaxed back out of the tongue, this book is a formalist approach for a kiss, or vice versa. Like a kiss is oblivious, they don't know their homestead is meat in an age of eternal iteration. Finally, I have met you. In this video of cyborgs making out with androids in the comments below. The unsung hero of this reading has been our host, James Gendron, whose second book recently came out from Octopus Books and is The Nastiest Delight. So if you're into nasty delights, I super recommend heading down to your local bookstore and checking out Weird Sister. So I have actually two poems in this book dedicated to James Gendron. And this one is called, and it's dedicated, Poem Against James Gendron. A poem against James Jack Gendron is as much a poem against Octopus Books, which published Jack's first book, and is therefore a war, basically, on all small press poets, all other poets, the concept of magazines, etc., as it is a poem for Jack's mom. And like Jack's mom, I want to be your mom, Jack. Beyond that, I want to birth all poets, all poetry presses, such as Octopus Books, etc. Anyone who's ever looked at a poem, basically y'all. I want to be your mom and steal your food from you, chew it up for you, spit it on the table in front of you and smirk. I want to clean up after you move out, having had enough of my shit, to live in a public park or something. I'll figure it out. Trickling up your brainstem to survive on what? Squirrels? Octopus Books? Lotto tickets and kindness? Like how you need that book because you gave birth to it. And if you didn't have it, you'd have nothing. Nothing. An amniotic sac and nothing. It's like an oral history that can only remember 15 years back is, okay, pretty practical. Like meat. Like a surgeon cooks a steak. Like a chicken cooks an egg. Like on the count of 3, everyone shout the name of someone you miss. 1, 2, 3. That's great. That's great. That's a poem you can only read like 7 readers in when like everybody's drunk enough. But thank you for participating. This poem's called Book God. At first, it was just the words for colors. Red, blue, green, purple. And then the colors began taking on more specificity. Mustard, ebon, cream, turquoise. And soon the words for the colors began showing the color each was describing before starting to mix together, bleed, leach, leaving an all too prismatic page upon page of words that no longer mean anything or mean a little too much. The word for the ankle bone in an undiscovered extinct sea mammal. The word for the world's last mouth. The word for a word that sounds like it should. The word of amazement. The inches. 1 Mississippi. The last place they expected to find themselves was in the word for the sensation of a tongue on a screaming tea kettle. They had thought the words were from them, but they soon found themselves yanked about by the words, as if the voice they thought was their own was actually a leash and a collar, or even some barbed hook stuck in their throat and attached as if by string to some celestial marionetter. Those kind of words. The words it was helpful to have killed. My word, she said before walking into the fire. The word for ambulance contra Wagner. The word for getting fake ketamine but still, kind of feeling it. The word digging its way out of the earth and straight into someone's foot. The word that used to mean little but now means vulnerable. The word imposed on the buildings of your city. The word used instead of the fist, either for pleasure or torture. The secret word that must be taught in whispers or broken apart, or can never be taught, only discovered. The word that records its speakers. The word imagined but never said. The word rusted onto the side of another language, having been disappeared from its own. The word that takes longer to say than to write. The word that causes phlegm to gather in your lungs. The word that is beautiful for only one day. The word that disproves beauty being truth. The word that causes anyone listening to it to go absolutely bonkers and start saying it to themselves. The world word, which has languages birthing and dying all over it. The word for missionary sex with missionaries. The word that leaves just for a moment before rushing back in for its lighter. The word that gets lit as it's spoken and causes the room to be bathed in copier white light. The word that forgets how it's supposed to sound. The mega word, nega word, or ultra word. The word or, the funeral words. The word that needs money to work. The word that opens up into a dictionary. The word who lives his whole life never having even dared to speak. The word on the internet manifesting on every screen, in every pocket, on every eyeball, through all the satellites. The word invariably convicted. The word for missionary sex with angels. The word used instead of a hairdryer, instead of a scalpel, and a satellite. The word that makes the prayer holy. The word that kills my grandmother. The word that kills my mother. The word that kills me. The word that kills you, like in a good way. What book is that word in? I forgot to mark what last poem I was reading. And somehow, looking at a Word document for 3 years, you know exactly where everything is. And then it's a physical book and everything's different. this seems like a great poem. No, that's a terrible poem to end in.
Read it.
No, it's lost now. It's lost in the pages. Epithalamion Anthropocene. As much a message as an EKG as a lesson. The world will remain your ally as long as the world remains. You're surrounded but in love with everybody. In debt, but so is everyone you're in love with. As much as massaging the heart. An MRI of your head while you imagine me as if I never died. It's no wonder love is still so popular. Like wind chimes silhouette in my sternum, I skin a few photons, mush them into fondant. Like our eyes meet and my mind becomes cake. It's IRL while we both don't forget it. And really I'd like to end on the very first page of this book is a little game called Everything is Boring, but It Doesn't Have to Be. And there's probably a couple people here who really feel that. And if you really feel that, pick a number between 1 and 100, and I'll tell you what you can do about it. 12? Now, a warning, some of the things you're going to do about it are not fun, not safe, things that'll make you uncomfortable. Who said 12? I mean, you don't have to own it, but is 12 still going on here?
Yes,
So, oh, hey, all you got to do to make your life less boring, 12, paint your toenails. Who's up? 30?
You say 30.
30 and 72. For 30, oh no. I mean, oh yeah, like I don't. Could be good, bad. Ask around for LSD. Take it. 72 was, slap your own face 18 times hard.
69.
69, 36. 69, that's really PG. Make a collage in 30 minutes. 69, 36? All right. Oof. Delete everything you wrote earlier than 3 years ago.
97.
97.
93.
97. Buy an old pet. 93. Get naked in a public bathroom. I know of one right over there. Whoever that was. One more?
No! 2 more.
2 more.
It's your night.
Deal.
Do it.
All right.
All right.
2 more.
26.
26.
13.
13. 26. Write your secrets on scraps of paper and leave them around.
I already do that.
Roll the keys.
13. Get rid of something that costs at least $30. Some of these things are bigger than other things. Y'all, thank you so much for coming to this event. Thank you for making this night for me. And again, thank you to my readers. Thank you to my press. Thank you to this bar.